Imagine the moment your next raise finally arrives. Your paycheck is a little bigger. Your bank account feels a little safer. For a moment, you breathe easier. Then a quiet thought appears in your mind. Maybe you deserve a nicer apartment. Maybe it is time for a newer car. Maybe you can finally upgrade the phone, the furniture, the clothes, the dinners, or the vacation you have been postponing. You do not sit down and make a reckless financial decision. You do not tell yourself, I am going to ruin my savings now. It happens slowly, almost invisibly. A small upgrade here, a new monthly payment there, a slightly more expensive lifestyle that feels reasonable because your income has gone up. Then, a few months later, something strange happens. You are earning more than before, but your bank account looks almost exactly the same. That is lifestyle creep, and it is one of the quietest financial traps in modern life. There are endless money rules in the world. Budgeting systems, spending trackers, financial apps, spreadsheets, saving challenges, investment strategies, and complicated formulas. But behind almost all of them, there is one simple rule that matters more than the rest. Freeze your lifestyle. When your income rises, your spending stays where it is. Every raise, every bonus, every tax refund, every side hustle payment, and every unexpected dollar should move past your lifestyle and go directly into savings, investments, or debt reduction. You decide what your life costs to run. You choose a level that is comfortable, reasonable, and sustainable. Then you lock it in. Your income can keep rising. Your cost of living does not have to rise with it, and over time the gap between what you earn and what you spend becomes wider and wider. That gap is the entire game. It is your emergency fund. It is your investment engine. It is your protection against stress. It is the difference between looking successful and actually being financially stable. Most people focus only on increasing income. They want the raise, the promotion, the side hustle, the business, or the next opportunity, and income does matter. But income alone does not create stability. If your spending rises every time your income rises, you are not becoming wealthier. You are only becoming more expensive to maintain. A person can earn a high salary and still be one bad month away from panic. Another person can earn a modest income, keep their lifestyle under control, and build real security year after year. The difference is not always income. The difference is the gap. Financial stability does not live in the size of your paycheck. It lives in the space between what comes in and what goes out. If that space is small, your life is fragile. If that space is wide, your life has breathing room. That is why freezing your lifestyle is so powerful. It turns every increase in income into fuel for freedom instead of fuel for more consumption. The goal is not to live miserably. The goal is to stop letting your lifestyle automatically expand every time your income improves. Because if you can hold your spending steady while your income grows, time begins to work for you. Quietly, patiently, relentlessly. The dangerous thing about lifestyle creep is that it almost never feels dangerous. It does not usually arrive as one dramatic decision. It arrives one small click at a time. You get a raise and upgrade one thing. Maybe your groceries become a little more expensive. Maybe you add a subscription you barely use. Maybe you move into a slightly bigger apartment because you can finally afford it. Maybe you lease a nicer car because it feels like the next natural step. Each decision feels reasonable. Each purchase feels earned. Each upgrade seems harmless on its own. But together, they slowly raise the cost of your life. And once your lifestyle moves upward, it becomes very difficult to bring it back down. This is because human beings adapt quickly. Psychologists call this hedonic adaptation. At first, the upgrade feels exciting. The new apartment feels amazing. The new car feels special. The new phone feels impressive. The better restaurants feel like a reward. But after a few weeks or months, that upgrade becomes normal. It no longer feels like a luxury. It becomes the new baseline. And once something becomes your baseline, losing it feels painful, even if you lived perfectly well without it before. That is the trap. Lifestyle creep does not just take your money, it changes what you believe you need. A raise that could have created freedom becomes absorbed into a new normal. And after a while, you feel just as financially stretched as you did before, even though you are earning more. This is why many people with strong careers and rising salaries still feel stuck. Their income keeps climbing, but their spending climbs with it. The two lines move together. Income rises, spending rises, income rises again, spending rises again. From the outside, this can look like success: a better home, a nicer car, more polished clothes, more expensive trips. But underneath, there may be no margin at all, no real cushion, no serious investments, no ability to walk away from a bad job, no freedom to take a lower-paying opportunity, no peace when something goes wrong. A life with no gap can look impressive from the outside while feeling extremely fragile on the inside. The freeze changes the chart. Imagine your income as one line moving upward over time. Now imagine your spending as another line. For most people, the spending line follows the income line almost perfectly. But if you freeze your lifestyle, the spending line stays mostly flat. Your income keeps rising. Your spending holds steady, and the space between those two lines grows. That growing space is where wealth is built. It is where options are created. It is where stress begins to loosen its grip. That gap becomes your shock absorber. A surprise medical bill does not destroy you. A car repair does not send you into panic. A job loss does not immediately become a crisis. A slow season at work does not wipe you out. The gap gives you time. The gap gives you choice. The gap gives you power. Without the gap, even a high income can feel like a cage. With the gap, even an ordinary income can become the foundation of real freedom. A raise may not feel life-changing when you receive it. A 3 or 4% increase can disappear quickly if you simply spend it. After taxes, it may feel like a small bump. Maybe it covers a nicer dinner habit, a larger car payment, or a slightly higher rent. Within a few months, you barely notice it. But if you freeze your lifestyle and invest that raise instead, the same small raise becomes powerful. It becomes the beginning of a machine. Let's imagine someone named Bianca. Bianca takes home about $60,000 a year. She decides that her life runs comfortably at that level. She has a decent apartment. She eats well. She enjoys simple pleasures. She travels occasionally. She is not living in deprivation. But she makes one clear decision. Her lifestyle will not rise just because her income rises. Every year she receives a raise of around 3.5%. Instead of spending the increase, she invests it in a low-cost index fund. The first year does not look dramatic. The second year does not look dramatic either. At first, the progress seems almost boring. A few $1,000s saved here, a little more invested there. Nothing flashy, nothing impressive enough to show off. But beneath the surface, two engines begin working at the same time. Her salary grows, her investments grow. Then her investments begin earning returns on earlier returns. Her raises continue getting larger because they are applied to a growing salary. The gap between her income and spending keeps widening. At first, the curve looks slow, then it bends upward, then it bends faster. After 10 years, Bianca has built a serious investment balance. After 20 years, she has created real wealth. Around the 21st year, she crosses a major financial milestone. She did not pick the perfect stock. She did not time the market. She did not chase trends. She did not need a complicated strategy. She simply refused to let her lifestyle consume every raise. That is the hidden power of the freeze. It does not rely on constant motivation. It does not require daily discipline. It does not ask you to make 100 decisions every week. You decide once. Then you automate the gap. Of course, not everyone wants a strict freeze forever. Some people want their lives to improve slowly. That is reasonable. The goal is not to punish yourself. A softer version of the rule can still work. You allow your lifestyle to rise modestly with true cost of living increases, but you do not let every raise become spending. You still protect the gap. You still invest the surplus. You still avoid turning every income increase into a permanent obligation. The strict freeze builds wealth faster. The gentle freeze still builds stability. Both are far better than letting your lifestyle rise automatically without intention. The key is not perfection. The key is control. You must decide where the raise goes before your emotions decide for you. Because every raise will ask you a question. Will this money make your life more expensive, or will it make your future more free? Most people answer that question unconsciously. The freeze forces you to answer it deliberately. One reason lifestyle creep is so dangerous is that the price tag is rarely the full cost. When you buy something, you are often buying future expenses too. A bigger apartment is not just higher rent. It may also mean higher utilities, more furniture, more cleaning, more repairs, more decoration, and more space that quietly asks to be filled. A nicer car is not just a bigger monthly payment, it may also mean higher insurance, more expensive maintenance, premium fuel, higher registration fees, and repairs that cost more than expected. A larger home is not just a larger mortgage. It may bring higher property taxes, higher insurance, more rooms to heat and cool, more things to fix, and a stronger pressure to furnish and upgrade everything around it. Every upgrade has a tail. That tail is the ongoing cost that follows the original decision, and that is where many people lose wealth without realizing it. A phone upgrade may seem small. Replacing a perfectly functional phone every 2 or 3 years may feel normal. But repeated over decades, that habit can represent a large amount of lost investment growth. The same logic applies to cars, furniture, clothing, subscriptions, electronics, restaurants, and housing. Individually, each decision feels manageable. Together, they become a silent tax on your future. This is why high earners can still have very little to show for their income. They are not always careless. They are not always irresponsible. They simply never counted the recurring cost of constantly upgrading. Now imagine another person named Theo. Theo earns more than Bianca. From the outside, Theo looks successful. He has the better title. He has the better car. He lives in a more impressive place. He takes better trips. He buys things without seeming to worry. But Theo never froze his lifestyle. Every raise became a new upgrade. Every promotion became a reason to expand his life. Every bonus became a reward. Over time, his fixed monthly costs became enormous. Mortgage, car lease, insurance, subscriptions, travel habits, dining habits, debt payments. Everything in his life now depends on keeping his high income. And that is where the trap becomes clear. The more Theo earns, the less free he becomes. He cannot easily take a lower-paying job he might actually love. He cannot walk away from a toxic manager. He cannot take a year to retrain. He cannot start the business he has dreamed about. He cannot pause without fear. His lifestyle has become a cage with a beautiful view. Bianca, even with a lower income, has more real freedom because her life is cheaper to run. That is the difference between looking rich and being stable. One day, Theo receives an offer from a smaller company. It is the kind of work he has always wanted. It pays less at first, but it could lead to something meaningful. Bianca could accept an opportunity like that because her expenses are low and her cushion is strong. Theo cannot. His past purchases have already made the decision for him. He turns the opportunity down and says, "It is not the right time." But the truth is more painful. He cannot afford his own dream because he already spent the money maintaining a lifestyle he barely remembers choosing. That is what lifestyle creep does. It does not only take your savings, it takes your options, it takes your courage, it takes your ability to move. The freeze gives those things back. Freezing your lifestyle is simple in theory, but it must be made practical. A rule you cannot execute is just an idea. So here is how to actually do it. First, define your number. Sit down and calculate what your life genuinely costs to run. Not the fantasy version of your life, not the version designed to impress other people, not the version social media keeps suggesting. Your real life: housing, food, transportation, insurance, utilities, debt payments, basic needs, a reasonable amount for joy, rest, and meaningful experiences. This number is your baseline. It is the cost of a life that feels stable, dignified, and enough. Write it down. When you name the line, you can defend it. Second, automate the surplus. This is where the rule becomes powerful. When your income rises, do not wait to see what is left at the end of the month. There will rarely be anything left. Instead, route the increase automatically. Send it to your emergency fund. Send it to your investment account. Send it to retirement accounts. Send it toward high-interest debt. The most important thing is that it does not sit in your checking account waiting to be spent. Money you never see is money you never adapt to. And money you never adapt to never becomes part of a lifestyle you feel forced to maintain. Third, delay upgrades. When you feel the urge to buy something that still works, pause for 1 week. Not forever, just 7 days. Write down what you want. Write down the purchase price. Then write down the cost of keeping it, maintaining it, insuring it, storing it, upgrading it, or replacing it later. Then live your normal life for a week. Most urges fade, not because you are weak, not because you are cheap, but because many spending impulses are emotional. They come from boredom, stress, comparison, advertising, or the desire to feel progress. The 1 week pause gives your judgment time to catch up with your impulse, and your judgment is the part of you that actually wants freedom. Now, it is important to be honest. Freezing your lifestyle can sound like deprivation. It can sound like saying no to everything. But that is not the point. The point is not to spend as little as possible. The point is to decide what is enough. Enough is one of the most powerful words in personal finance. If you do not know what enough is, more money will never satisfy you. Every raise will become a new baseline. Every upgrade will become normal. Every success will create a new need. But when you know what enough is, you can finally stop chasing. You can let your income rise without letting your life become more fragile. This is not easy because the world is designed to pull you in the opposite direction. Advertising exists to make your current life feel incomplete. Social media shows you other people's upgrades without showing you their debt, stress, or obligations. The culture around you tells you that earning more should mean spending more. So keeping your lifestyle steady can feel strange. At times, it may even feel lonely, but you are building something most people cannot see. You are building margin. You are building patience. You are building the ability to say yes to the right things and no to the wrong ones. And it is never too late to start. Imagine a woman named Camille. Camille does not discover this rule in her 20s. She finds it in her 40s. For 2 decades, her lifestyle rose with every raise. She had a good career, but very little real security. When the truth finally becomes clear, she does not destroy her life or shame herself. She simply freezes her spending where it is. From that day forward, every future raise and bonus goes toward rebuilding her financial foundation. She may not have 40 years left for compounding, but 20 years of discipline still changes everything. Her life becomes more stable. Her options return. Her future stops feeling so fragile. The hardest part is the first year. At first, freezing can feel like loss, but over time, it becomes pride. You begin to enjoy watching the gap grow. You stop comparing yourself to other people's upgrades. You stop needing every raise to become visible. You begin to understand that quiet wealth is often stronger than visible success. One day, you realize that you are no longer working only because you have to. You are working because you choose to. That is the real prize. Not money for bragging rights, not a number on a screen, but a life that does not require fear to keep running. A life with margin, a life with options, a life where one unexpected bill does not destroy your peace, a life where your future is not constantly being sacrificed for upgrades you barely remember buying. So the rule is simple: freeze your lifestyle, bank every raise, invest the gap, Let your income rise while your spending stays controlled. Bianca shows what the rule can build. Theo shows what happens when lifestyle becomes a cage. Camille shows that it is never too late to begin. But remember this, the rule works best when it sits on a strong financial foundation. You still need to understand debt, interest, investing, emergency funds, retirement accounts, and the order in which to use your money, because freezing your lifestyle creates the surplus. Financial literacy tells you where that surplus should go. Together, they create something powerful, a future that becomes less fragile every year, a life that grows stronger while your spending stays calm, and a freedom that arrives slowly at first, then all at once.